Hi, everybody. I am Kit Ballinger. Thank you so much for joining us today for this very special author interview. I'd like to welcome Mindy Thomas and Guy Raz, authors of The How and the Wow of the Human Body. Mindy, Guy, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Kit.
Thanks for having us.
So I am excited to talk to you all about your book. It's going to come out in March from HMH Books for Young Readers. Can you give us a little bit of background about Wow in the World and how it came to be?
Sure. Well, Mindy and I are old friends, and a few years ago, we were on a long hike in the woods, and we started talking about making a show for kids and grown-ups that was about science and real science, science rooted in peer-reviewed scientific journals, but science that was exciting and inspiring and would get kids excited about science. So we started to tinker and tinker and tinker, and we came up with Wow in the World, which is a show about science, but it's a journey through the future and the past. It takes us underwater and into space. We fly around the world on our pigeon Reggie, and we go on all kinds of adventures around the world, but adventures told through the prism of science. And that's how it began.
That is amazing. So, y'all have this incredible vision for a podcast that encourages kids to set their screens down and lift their eyes up to the wonders of the world. Except now we're actually telling them to put their eyes down again and take a look at a book. So, how did the book come to be?
Well, I think when we started Wow in the World, we knew we wanted to be everywhere that kids were. So one of those places was reading, was books. And so when it came time to thinking about what kind of book we wanted to write, we thought, we spend so much time looking outside of ourselves for the wow in the universe. We're looking into space, we're looking into the past. But we thought there's a huge body of wow that every person, every kid listening and reading is lugging along with them every single day. So we thought, how great would it be to create this book that takes all of the fun and the humor from Wow in the World, and we turn kids inside. We help them to understand their insides and their outsides and all of the guts in between, as the title says.
So, as a librarian, I love this and I really appreciated how kid-friendly and approachable you made all of this information. Sort of a hallmark of the work that you two do. So, even the way you talk about the different body parts, like comparing the skin to a three-layer cake, I mean, that's just delicious. I love it. Can you each tell me something that surprised you about the human body as you were making this book?
So much. I would probably take up the rest of this interview just telling you what surprised us about the human body. I will say that, our approach with the book is really similar to our approach with the show. Basically, the way we approach the show is, how do we explain this science to ourselves? And once we understand it, we're pretty sure that kids and grown-ups will understand it as well. And so when you look through the book, you will find literally hundreds and hundreds of things that I think will surprise anybody, even people who may feel like they're familiar with the human body. I mean, for example, did you know that the roof of your mouth is the floor of your nose? I mean, how many people knew that?
You get a two-story face.
Two-story face. You have an apartment complex in your mouth, which is pretty incredible.
But one of the things that really I can't stop thinking about, and I wish I could, was the fact that we lose about 9 pounds of dead skin every year, and that that dead skin is eaten by little teeny tiny dust mites that have a more sophisticated way of eating than even I do, and that's that their little pinchers work like chopsticks to eat your dead skin. And so I couldn't help but think that we've got little dust mites just gnawing on our dead skin like potato chips all the time. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of quarantine. And I know a lot of parents feel like, I'm never, ever alone. Guess what? You were never alone to begin with.
Don't let your dust mites go hungry, Mindy.
No, I will not. And one of the things that, why the human body is that when I think of things that I wanted as a kid, or things that I still am entertained by now, the human body is not only fascinating, but it's also disgusting, which is, I think, something that appeals to most kids, and that, it makes strange sounds, strange smells come out of it. Just wondering what the insides look like. And so in this book, we have all sorts of comic panels that take you inside of the body. We explore the Bristol poop scale so you can understand how healthy your poop is. Just, it was so fun to write, and I laughed so much. Guy laughed so much when we were working on this that, I hope that kids find as much humor that just naturally comes out of it. No pun intended.
On Wow in the World, we go inside the human body. In this book, we also go inside the human body. We go inside the inner ear, and we learn about earwax and why earwax in kids is softer than earwax in grown-ups. It really is designed to be the the best, newest version of those great human body books that I used to read as a kid, The Way Things Work, and other adaptations from that series about the human body. Because the human body is, as Mindy said, this incredible engineering marvel, right? I mean, it is the most complex machine in the universe, and we have one. Every single one of us has one. There is no man-made piece of equipment that is as complex as the human body, from the brain to the heart. I mean, the engine and the computer inside of us. It's this miraculous, incredible thing. And through the pages of this book, we take you on this journey inside the body, where we actually go inside and take a look around and kick the tires.
And we're living in a moment where kids are being told, and grown-ups are being told, we have to take care of our bodies. We have to take care of our bodies. There's this virus going around. And I think the first step to taking care of your body is to understand and to appreciate your body, and to understand how your body blocks off viruses and how it fights illness. And so I hope that kids reading this will have a better understanding when someone says, wear a mask, or social distance, or watch out for the droplets spraying from your mouth, that they will understand what that really means in a deeper way.
This book has information about coronavirus. And so it's really just absolutely up to the date information here, this research that you've done. And you have eye boogers and asparagus pea and muscles and bones, and you really kind of cover the entire system. Is there anything that didn't make the cut for this book?
Okay. So I, for the longest time, have had this vision of a book, and I wasn't sure what kind of book it would be, that had a full 2-page spread of vomit. You just turn the page and there is vomit. There's no margin, just vomit covering the whole page. And so when we pitched this book to HMH, that was in our pitch. I think they were into it. I was a little shocked, but they were. And so we spent basically the duration of writing this book, we were searching everywhere for a high resolution photograph of vomit. We were looking for stock photos, and then, we thought we could just make it, we could fake it, and I thought it's got to look real. And then the more we were searching for pictures and finding vomit photos, I started to feel queasy myself, and I've got a high threshold when it comes to disgusting things. And I thought, if I'm starting to feel queasy and uncomfortable looking at all of this throw up, then maybe it would be a little triggering for some readers to open up the book and have no warning, and then there's this vomit spread. So ultimately, our vomit pages did not make the book.
One of the really cool things about this book is that a lot of kids, including me when I was a kid, including me when I'm an adult, have a fear of parts of the human body or things inside of our body, like blood. A lot of kids are just scared of blood. And what's so cool about this book is that we really break down what's made up, what makes up blood. The blood cells and what they look like and how they function and operate. And what's so cool is that as you start to kind of understand those different functions of the human body, our hope also is that it makes it a little less scary, that when you know, get a scrape or a cut and you start to bleed, you understand that it's a really normal function and a really cool part of this amazing machine that we all carry around with us, the human body. And it's all designed to heal, to self heal, and to make you stronger. And that's what's so cool about this machine that we all have. It's an amazing piece of engineering that no human could possibly engineer.
And I did notice that along with the photographs of scars and scrapes and bruises, you did also include the address for your editor if people had concerns.
Oh
So
yeah,
if
any
people
clever.
really want a puke spread in your next book, maybe they can just let HMH know.
Let HMH know.
They could do that.
And on this in the spirit of scars, scrapes, scabs, and bruises, what are they? What do they do? We have a whole flow chart in the book called "Should I Pick It?" So whether it's a scab or a scrape or your nose or your underpants riding up your bottom, we've got a whole flow chart called "Should I Pick It?" for kids to follow along to see if they should, whatever it is, if they should pick it or not.
I think the kids are going to want to pick up this book. So, Guy, who do you see as the ideal reader?
I think this book is for kids and their parents and their grandparents. It's for everybody. I mean, what's amazing about this book is that I promise you, if you're a grown up and you get this book for your kid, you are going to be sneaking it away at night and reading it yourself because it's so fun and interesting and it's filled with information that you didn't know. Like, for example, there are 1,000 times more neural connections in the human brain than there are stars in our galaxy. That's 100 million stars. 1,000 times more neural connections in our brain than stars in our galaxy. I mean, it's full of information and facts and wonder. And it's really designed to do what our podcast does, which is to let everybody walk away from that experience having learned something new and having hopefully been inspired to dig deeper and to look further into this incredible world of science.
Mindy, what about you? Who do you see as the ideal reader?
Yeah, I see families reading this book together. I think it's a great book for kids to, I'm picturing kids reading this book in the backseat of the car and passing the information that they learn from it forward to the front seat. And hopefully the drivers in the front seat will learn something that they didn't already know. One of the things that I think is special about Wow in the World and just the work that we do in general is that we aim to put kids and adults on the same playing field where everybody is going to walk away learning something that they didn't know. So I hope that would be the case with this book. I think it's a great book that, you could pick it up, open it up to any page and start reading. I'm hoping that there are pages that are dog-eared, that they're, books. I hope parents and kids and caregivers will read it together, but it's a book for all ages.
And I do love, as you mentioned, that you can pick it up or put it down and read it in sections back to front if you wanted to. It's not necessarily something that you have to read start to finish in that particular order. You can jump right in with the body part that intrigues you most. And I do think it's important to give a special plug for educators and for librarians who will love the fact that your book is not just fact filled, but overwhelmingly well researched and filled with back matter. So you've got a glossary of the words and the terms and an index so kids can look up a fart or the poop scale or go straight to whatever random body part they want to learn more about. And source notes for your research, and even QR codes that will take your readers straight to Wow in the World episodes to help them learn even more about the topics that intrigue them with this book. So I think you've got kids and you've got families, but I think you've also got a really terrific and broad audience in a school setting for this book as well.
Even with all of the information in this book, I want to make it clear, I think we wrote this in a way that even a kid who has zero curiosity about science or their body or how things work, that this book is for them too. This is not an overwhelming, heavy anatomy book. I hope that this book is an introduction to your body, that it gets you, that it sparks your interest in it, and then later on you could go digging deep for more on any of these subjects, or any of these systems or body parts. But I hope that kids, it just does enough to pique their interest.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about the book and about Wow in the World, which is that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to inspire kids to get excited about science. It's the kind of book, as Mindy says, that kids will pass around in the backseat of the car, that kids will sort of shout out this information that they're learning and these insights that they're gleaning, and we hope that it encourages them to pursue an even deeper path into the world of science.
I learned so much in reading this book, and I know that your readers will as well. But as I keep saying, it's a very playful book too. So I thought it might be fun if we could play a few body part related games. So, my first question actually goes back to the dust mites, Mindy, because now that I know that, I just kind of can't stop thinking about it. So, in a grosser than gross standpoint, if your skin were a potato chip, what flavor do you think it would be?
I'm a little cheesy. I think maybe like some kind of a Cheeto.
Cheeto.
I think that's what I would taste like. Cheetos.
And Guy?
I think I would be an ancient grain and a dark green leafy vegetable.
You'd be a veggie.
Guy's dust mites are a diet of 100% Guy kale chips. One of the things I learned in your book is that a very small percentage of the human population can actually touch your nose with your tongue. I am not in that small percentage. I can't curl my tongue or do any of can either of you touch your nose with your tongue without forcibly using your fingers to get it there?
Not even close. Not even close. No, I can't lick my elbow either.
That was my next one. Guy, can you lick your elbow?
This is something that we actually try in our live Wow in the World pop-up party shows. We go all around the country in normal times, touring the country for thousands and thousands of kids, and one of the things in our latest show involves licking your own elbow.
And it's very hard when you have elbow patches on all of your clothing. It's very, very hard to lick your elbow. It's the elbow patches make it harder.
Well, speaking of stumping you covered so many body parts in this book. It took a little bit of digging, but I found some of the most obscure names for body parts that were not in this book, and probably for good reason. There's a lot of Latin involved here. But I'm wondering if you could each take a moment and point to your lanula. Can anyone point to your lanula?
Is it up?
Are you going up here?
Am I hot or cold?
So the lanula is actually that little crescent-shaped part at the base of your nail. But Mindy, you were actually fairly close to your columella. Your columella. Guy, would you like to point to your columella?
Head, noses, columella, and toes. Heads and toes.
Yeah, super, super close. It's that skin and cartilage that separates your nostrils.
There we go. And by the way, we do have a whole section in there on the pros and cons of eating your boogers.
In fact, 91% of human beings pick their nose.
Let's save that for the sequel. Well, speaking of next, can you tell us a little bit about what's coming down the pike for Wow in the World?
We are really excited. We're working on some new secret projects, including some new shows, which we will be able to tell you more about next year.
Yeah, we're working on another book. We're working on future events. We've got things for teachers, things for librarians. We've got a lot coming down the pike.
We will stay tuned. Well, before we go, is there any body part that you would like to take a moment today to thank?
I would like to thank the human heart, which is the engine of our body. It pumps blood through our bodies, it keeps us moving, it keeps the blood going, it regulates our emotions, it helps us feel better. Thank you, human heart.
And I would like to thank my belly button. It doesn't really do anything, but it served a big, big purpose when I was coming into this world. And because of it, I am able to explore all of this wow. And I think we all owe a little bit of gratitude to our belly buttons.
All right. Well, sending a great big thanks to the hearts and the belly buttons out there, and an enormous thanks to you both. We are incredibly excited to be welcoming the how and the wow of the human body, from your tongue to your toes and all the guts in between, into the world from HMH Books for Young Readers in March. Thank you, Mindy Thomas. Thank you, Guy Raz. And thank you both for bringing some wow to our worlds.
Thank you, Kit Ballinger.
Thank you.